Welcome to the Florence Foodies podcast, a place for the community to gather and share the stories, voices, and experiences that make Florence feel like home. To support this podcast and the Florence Foodies platform as a whole, click the Support This Podcast link found in the description.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Florence Foodies podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Drayton Realty Group on 653 South Coit Street. You can reach their office at 843-407-5232. Call them today for all of your residential, commercial, and land real estate needs. So today I'm joined by four of our local restaurant owners. We have Brandon and JJ from Redbone Alley. We've got Alan Cook from Rebel Pie. And we've got Chef Alessandro Florence from Il Buongustaio, which is where we're at today. And Chef Alex, you've made a spread of food. We've got an entire buffet. What all do we have here? Give us a rundown real quick.
We have lamb chops. They are breaded. Here we have fried ossobuco ravioli with their sauce, which is a sambuca sauce. And here is just puff pastry with some tomato. And there we have puff pastry stuffed with mozzarella cheese and duia, which is a spicy salami that I made, by the way.
Well, it's very good. So thank you for hosting it. Thank you for providing
my
the food
pleasure.
also.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It was just an excuse for me to eat all this stuff.
yeah. So just to open up the conversation, the first question that I'll ask you guys is, what's your why for wanting to run a restaurant? It can be a difficult and challenging business in a lot of ways, from the hours that are worked to the public can be difficult to deal with at times, and just challenges that come with that. It's not always as glamorous as people think. It's not like, millions of dollars always running through our restaurants locally. What is your why? We could start with whoever.
Okay. It's really for me, it was about family to start with. What can I do to provide a better life for my family, but also, having the instant gratification of giving someone a great experience, a great meal, allowing them to bring their family into our establishment and do the same thing for them. That's really the main reason why we did it.
Absolutely. Those are all good reasons. Sometimes it's in your blood too. If you try to do something else and you just keep being drawn back to it, you've been in it a long time, so it's really just the satisfaction of being able to create and, be creative and please other people and hear from them that they enjoyed it and that it's good. And
Yeah, we're people pleasers for sure. We have that bug, the hospitality bug, as they say. And I mean, it goes just when you have people over at the house, just even though that's a much smaller scale, but it translates into the restaurant industry for sure, just at a much larger scale. But I think that's what it is mainly for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the the heart of hospitality, though. Just having people over and passion, especially restaurant passion for food, passion for the drinks that could be for mixology or wines and research things and stuff. And obviously, you're gonna love it. It's a tough work.
And it's
You
not
know,
just the people out here in the dining room, it's all the employees
Oh,
too.
absolutely. Without them, we don't exist.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I did this because I've been doing it for so long. I can't even remember why I started. Probably was one of the best options that I had at the moment.
I can relate to what you said, JJ. Just, obviously don't run a restaurant, but I come from a family of cooks, the men and women in my family, particularly the women, both grandmas, my mom, and that passed to me that, and you said it as well, just wanting to create, being creative in the kitchen is kind of like art.
Yeah.
And people come over, or even just my family. I like cooking stuff just for my wife and the kids, and then you get a good review. Very nice, and sometimes it doesn't go so well, but if you're at home in the kitchen, then it doesn't really matter. They can just eat it. But yeah, but I think that would have to be at the heartbeat for most people, especially restaurants that really provide good food, is a want to do exactly that, to cook dishes that are done with excellence and see the smile on people's faces, when you're eating them. So
I think it's the challenge of it as well. Just, I mean, obviously you got to be tough to be in a restaurant period, to get beat up every day, with labor, or with guests that come in. Jay. Oh yeah, absolutely. JJ and I, we started in the restaurant business. He did a little bit, and we were on the food distribution side of it for a while. So I think it was a cool challenge for us to be able to step in and try to keep one of Florence's staples, running. Hopefully the way it has in the past, and even better. But I think the challenge of it, is something that gets you up every single day. What can I do better today? How can I make people happier today? How can I, make sure that my employees are happy, and that they're creating a good lifestyle and a living for their families. Um, there's a lot. There's a whole lot of aspects to run a restaurant.
so just to key in on you two real quick, how's it going with Redbone? I mean, what can you share about what's going on over there, and how it's gone so far, and how it's going moving forward?
It's I mean, not to be surface level, but it is going very good. Business has grown since we've taken over. Obviously, we're not, we're just kind of at a point where we're still making small tweaks because, it's such a big place, so many people we're dealing with. We can't do everything overnight, and we don't want to, you know, do a duct tape fix, whatever. But it's heading in the right direction. I think just a little bit of a shift is all we're doing right now, and menu wise, we're coming out with a new menu. Hopefully, 2 weeks is the goal. At the most, really next week. Um, I think that's going to be a good change for us, and we'll actually have a little bit of our own spin on the menu. Um, but as far as the employees, just giving them the support they've been needing has been a big thing. Um, Out front and back of house, that's the biggest thing that we've noticed. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
We're moving in
yeah,
a great direction. I mean, you'll never be truly satisfied, in any business. I don't think. You always want to strive to be better. And that's what we're trying to do every day. Look, I mean, it's a very large restaurant. So, every few steps, something else pops in your mind. You're like, oh, we got to do this. We've got to do this. So something
like
breaks, something, something shuts
Saturday.
down,
course.
somebody doesn't show up for work,
Of
there's,
course.
there's a whole lot to it,
It
but,
never is gonna be your way though.
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
right.
the way that you vision it, where you want to do something.
If you're ever
It's
satisfied,
very
you're on your
hard.
way down at that point.
Yeah.
That's a fact. If you get
It's
comfortable
never.
in the restaurant business, you might as well go ahead and figure out something else you can do.
You have to always think 100, but be happy to get a 70.
Yeah.
That's how it. I mean, that's how this business is. I mean, I can speak for me, but that's always has been because you're never gonna get, from the employee for how good they are. You have your own idea, your own vision, and a lot of times they don't just think like us, and that's
Yeah.
what they can give us,
Yeah.
which you gotta accept that and
Mhm.
whatever. But the thing that I found hard here in Florence is actually the employees.
Yeah.
It's a constant challenge
Yeah.
to get them to work. If you get the good ones, you try to keep them, but obviously, sometimes no on your hands.
Yeah. I
You
think
know,
one challenge is not being a food destination like some other areas is when you really get the talented and creative
yes,
young people, if they really have that passion and they really have that desire to grow, it's just natural that they're going to want to go to a bigger area where they can expand their horizons more, so they head off to the Charlestons. So it's hard to keep that type talent around because they're going where they think there's a better market for their services.
Well, we're working hard on changing that, and I'll tell you, fellas, I think that it is. I mean, that was just 2 weeks ago, I think the article, and I know it was kind of promotional with Florence Food and Wine and all. I understand that, but I think there was a lot of truth to it. It's saying is Florence becoming a food destination place, and I've said it 1,000 times on this platform, but I don't see why not. We're right here on I-95. We're in the middle of the corridor on the East Coast. We've got I-20. Um, our proximity to the beach, Charlotte, Fayetteville, Columbia, Charleston. There's no reason not to. I mean, I know that Florence comes with its challenges. I'm very aware, and we could go into some details on that probably, but I think that it's definitely changing. And just one more thing, real quick, because I don't want to forget this, but you said something that I really appreciate, and just kind of focusing on the employees, because it's hard enough as it is. I think it's really just the culture that we're in and the generations. I mean, I'm getting older, so I hear myself sounding like an old guy a lot more. But I'm like, these kids don't know how to work, Like, I mean, I've done the back to back to back doubles. I've done them in Redbone, as a matter of fact. Like, I know, what really you having to put the pedal to the metal on that grind is like, and it's a lot of hard work. But the flip side of that coin is, I was in a restaurant a couple of days ago. We were doing some work, and I made a comment to my wife and said, and I have no desire to go back into the service industry. I did my time, and that's that. But that season,
Like a jab.
but it is a culture though, and you become like family. And I've worked in places that were really good to work, and I've worked in places that were a lot more challenging. And it does start with the leadership. And to hear you say something like that, and you guys talking about just building that culture for the employees, that affects every aspect of the restaurant. And so I was in that place. I was like, man, I almost wanted to just pick up a couple of shifts. Like, it just looked like it was a good time to be out there.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely a huge goal of ours. Just make it a great place to work. And, when they're happier as a whole in their environment, I mean, it's only going to translate to the customer. And people can see, I mean, when a server walks out and they're just, like walking to their tables versus when they're, postured up and happy to be there, they can tell all day long.
It's
And
very, yeah.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's very hard sometimes to have that difficult conversation with employees, but there is a way to do it in a positive way, and that's what we're really trying to do. At our restaurant is even in the hard conversations, do it positively. Give them a reason to want to do better and to be better. And if you create that kind of culture in that environment, it's going to uplift everyone. Even the servers that aren't really great at their job, they're going to want to be better, and the ones that are really good at their job, they're going to be even better. And then before you know it, you got a great staff that can really, turn things around in a restaurant quick. And with obviously with good positive communication, even with the patrons that come in, it helps. If you talk to them constantly and make sure they're having a good experience, even if it does take a little bit longer for the food to come out. Because I mean, even in us, when we go to restaurants, I know, I mean, I'll sit there and 20 minutes feels like 45 minutes. I mean, it does. And everybody's going to feel that way. But obviously, we have a different understanding, working in the business. But if you over communicate with people and let them know, hey, we're busy, we're backed up, we've got stuff going on right now. It alleviates so many of those problems, and it takes a lot of that stress away from the employees, and it allows us to work more freely. I feel like than kind of bottled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. People don't realize how much attention to detail and multitasking ability and fortitude it really takes to pull that off. Because when everything's going off the rails and you're getting slammed, and to have the awareness to say, hey, we need to, especially if you're looking at a ticket time, say, man, this thing's hitting like 24 minutes, or it's going to hit over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We need to get out there and just let them know what's going on.
Right.
And some people can't think on their feet that quick. So I mean, just stuff like that is super helpful.
Customers don't realize too, it's not a linear rise in when you get busy. I mean, it's an exponential rise in how crazy it gets when you go from empty to slammed at your busiest time on a Friday night. It's not just a gradual linear, we're busier. It's exponential, and it's so chaotic. And they don't understand one messed up order right here that you have to redo, or one complaint, just throws the whole production off, or one expediter taking something to the wrong table, or
Or a server dropping something on the tray of food.
Yeah, it's
On
just
that wrong, on that wrong
it's
order.
It's not
Yeah.
just a little wrench in the mechanism there.
Yeah.
It's really so
Complex, man. It's like a Rubik's cube. You're trying to figure out from 5:30 to 9 every Friday and Saturday night in particular.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's hard to yell back to the kitchen and say, "Hey, we need to recook on this," without everyone in the kitchen turning around to see what's going on, and then it throws them off their game, and then they've got to go back and say, "Oh, wait, I've got to do this, this, and this." It's Alan's absolutely right on that. There's no linear, formula to running a restaurant, or the way that the restaurant's being run in any way, shape, or form. We go through it on Sundays. Our Sundays, we get a church crowd that comes in all at once, and we fill up as fast as we possibly can, and we try to communicate to the staff, and the good ones do a great job with the communication, and some of the ones that, a lot of newer ones, they're scared to have those conversations with those customers, so they shut down a little bit.
Right.
Next thing you know, they're off to the side and they're not talking to the customer, and the customer is not getting any attention. That's where that 5-10 minutes feels like 30 minutes, because they're like, man, they're not even talking to me, like, what's going on?
Yeah, but that's a point over here too. Being a small restaurant, I have the same thing. I keep telling you guys, calm, slow down. They don't go nowhere. They're sitting down. Let them enjoy. You go talk to them. Your job is not just take the order, and bring the food to them. Your job is just to make them comfortable. So make their time goes, slower or
Yeah.
faster, whatever you want to, the way that you want to look at it. But you gotta communicate. More you communicate to people, more you talk to them, they're gonna enjoy their time. So they know it's not just them over there. But if you go just there, taking their order, like just what you want, without talk about the food, without talk about the wine or whatever you want to talk about it, for them to in the end, you are there to sell, right? And to serve them like as best as we can, to make their experience enjoyable.
Yeah.
But if you just go over there and, yeah, what would you like? You already lost everything, all the control or everything. That's what I have hard time to make them understand. You are in control. No, for how much, yeah, the customer is in control of what they want to eat, obviously. But you've been there as your job to control the situation,
Yeah.
to have a full control and talk to the customer, because not everybody come here with a bad mood, but it's up to you to keep that up. But you can even change a person with a bad mood. It's up to you. Just go talk to them. And I keep every day is just slow down, slow down, calm. Because they're not gonna. But that's what they do. You're right. They get panic. If you do one day, they are a little slow in their head. Oh my God, we didn't do anything. Yada
Yeah.
yada yada. Think about my head that I have to pay you too. Like, and but then the next day you get slammed. They go crazy. They go.
Yeah.
They've forgotten every training, everything that you tell them, because they see people, they get their rush inside and they forget. So I have to constantly tell it, slow down, slow down. Actually, funny story. Last Saturday we got their way slammed. I had a water gun in the back. So
Really?
I got it. I said, in the end, I said, if I see you running, I'm gonna spray you.
That's awesome.
That's
you gotta play though.
Yeah.
You're here all day
Yeah.
having all these things, so you just gotta make some fun out of it.
Yep.
You
But
can
like,
train and train all day, but in the end, it comes down to the person too.
Yeah.
If they want to learn, some people are more natural at the hospitality, some people are. But like you said, with the employee situation, in Florence, sometimes you're making do with the best you can get at the time. It's
yeah. And sometimes you can talk 1,000 times, but they're not received. They don't receive. It's
but it's human nature too. You get busy,
yeah.
like you say. I see some of my people sometimes. It's like they're rushing and they got a bunch of tables, and somebody walks in, and I'll watch them walk by. So then I greet the person, because it's like they avoid making contact because they're trying to focus on what they're thinking about, and they're scared.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to ask them something and lose their concentration and that kind of. But the customer doesn't see that. They just see an employee walk by them, and
ignore it.
didn't. And customers just want information. Half the time, You know, I've had servers come up to me, can you put this at the top of the line because I forgot to put their order in? I said, did you tell the person you forgot to put it in? And I'll, you know, we'll discount it or something. You know, well, yeah. I'm like, did you, or are you lying to me? You know,
That's a tough
because
conversation to have.
well, but most of the time, if you fess up, because the customer knows when you're feeding them a line.
Yeah.
I mean, they know, we know. Just own up to your mistake, apologize, tell them, you know, we'll take care of it and do better. Then, 99% of the time they'll be okay with
Sometimes
that.
it's easier for them to tell, oh, the
It's
kitchen
easier
messed
for
up.
it's easier for them, yeah, because they're not, But no, I have a good crew right now. Honestly, I'm happy with who I've got now. They're doing a great job. So, but even with that, you still have circumstances where it's just, and it's you most of the time it's when you're really busy because, like I say, it goes up exponentially the difficulties you're dealing with, and you have to train them to handle that too.
Yeah, and also like when they start doing what we tell them, like the way that we tell them anything, sometimes they do it, and then the end of the night, you actually see it. They see it, and I tell, okay, you see the difference. You did what I told you. Did you see the difference? Yeah. So why you don't do it all the time? They just get lost. They get lost. They just whatever. Like if they heard it goes, oh my God, people. Doom. There's a anxiety.
Yeah.
I get so much of the mentality of I need to get these people in as fast as possible and get them fed and get them out as fast as possible because the more tables I turn, the more money I'm going to make. But if they sit back and they relax, and Alex, you said it perfectly, it's about an experience. A customer is going to go to a fast food restaurant if they want to get their order taken and get their food quick. They come to our restaurant because they want to sit down, they will have an experience that they share with others that allows them to have a great time outside of their normal life. That's why they come to the restaurant. And when you get a server to sit down and or calm down, not sit down, but calm down and say, hey, look, if I get this customer here and if I offer them everything that we've got, and I tell them, what appetizers are my favorite, I tell them what drinks are my favorite, or I give them a reason to order something different, you take that experience to another level. And then that's how you really get the customers to come back. But then at the end of it, the employee is going to look at their tip at the end of it, or what they make at the end of the shift, and say, "Wow, I made more money than I did by rushing people out of here." Yeah, because you created an experience for somebody, you made them happy, so they're going to take care of you. And that's it's hard. It's very hard to train people to take a breath and to relax and to do it the right way than to do it the fast way.
So just coming from a former career server, all you servers out there, what he just said, listen to that. Because now, and I used to think that way, just being transparent. I was like turntables for a while, but then it changed. But now at this season of life, if my wife and I can get out of the house and we can come to Il Buongustaio restaurant and have dinner, I want to milk that thing for as much as we can. Because that's like a vacation for us. That's the vacation we get. And so I don't want to be rushed. I want to enjoy the whole experience. I want to enjoy just the charcuterie board or the appetizer, whatever, and then get into the meal. I never let them take my appetizer order and entree order at the same time. Even if they say I'll hold it, you're not gonna get me. I'll keep the menu. We'll wait and we'll let you know when we're ready. For that reason, though.
I enforce them not to do that.
Yeah.
I enforce them. And actually, I mean, I don't yell them, but I just kind of, yeah. 'Cause I don't yell, trust me. Because if I start yelling, you can hear me Redbone from me. So I don't. But I tell them, what did you get? What did you get? And that's what the mistakes they do. And I try to tell them, when people come in, they gotta get the experience. Okay. I don't care how long they're sitting down. Just let them the experience. Also, because it's gonna create time for the kitchen to prepare the table before.
Yeah.
And so what they do take the order. They tell me, oh, but they gave me the order. But it's you in control. Explain to them how it works. Tell them, hold the thought. When you finish your appetizer, I come back before you finish, I'll get your order. So you can think about I can talk to you more about the dish, all this kind of thing. But no, they just get over there and then they look at me because they already have their order and I'm already full over there. And they look at me like, okay, if I put this, it's gonna yell at me. Uh are you okay? But you have it in your hands, just put it in. I mean, why are you holding it? Because I try to make them, if you already have the order on their customer mind, that time is already clicking.
Yeah.
It's going.
Mhm.
So long as you hold the order in your hands without putting it, the customer is gonna wait even longer because I don't know in the kitchen how long you got the order.
Yeah.
So I just go by, when they come in, I just start cooking and stuff there. But so I try exactly to tell them, just make them enjoy. Just tell them how to. Oh, but they know already what I understand. But you're in control. Tell them, look, let's do this way. So we want you to enjoy this time. Obviously, if somebody comes in and want to go, they have to go. They have to go. Okay, I just try to make them happy, but I want them people to enjoy. So you gotta force them. I mean, not the customer, but excuse me, but the servers and stuff to just understand this process in any restaurant, not just this one.
Usually people will tell you that too. They'll say, "Hey, I'm in a hurry, so
Yeah,
can you
yeah,
get me in and out?"
correct, exactly. Usually when you're busy, they tell you this.
And we have a little more leeway. Like, it depends on where you're at too, because like our restaurant, obviously has more leeway than that than his, because ours isn't as much about ambiance and the experience as Alex here, with the fine dining Italian. So most of my customers are, coming in to eat and get out. They're in a hurry to go somewhere. They got the kids running around and trying to, feed them and get out quickly. So you have a few that come in and want, sip on some wine and chat while they're there. But for the most part, it's a little different expectation coming in to pizza than to.
That's a cultural thing. Like they go eat pizza because I wanted something quick.
Mhm.
So I noticed that before at the restaurant that I worked, when you have pizza, they what people have is a different. You can see people that come in to eat food and people that come in to have a pizza. They just, okay, I go have a, oh, well, we're having pizza today, so it's a quick, we have to go to a game or whatever you have to do. That's what they do. Yeah, I just
But
totally
again, you usually
understand
probably
that.
know that. Like I mean, if you're, you know where you're going and why you're going there. So some of it, people have to be honest with the decisions they made too. I think sometimes that part doesn't happen. It's like, well, you went to, a place that's going to take longer than you could have went to McDonald's if you
But it's
wanted to.
again, it's a cultural thing. People go a lot of time. People go at the restaurant to eat and not to enjoy the time. Just feed me. I gotta go home.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing. It is just like, and obviously, I cannot expect like, I can talk from myself. To Italy. If you go to Italy, I don't know if any of you has been there. We go out late. I mean, because before 8 o'clock, you don't see anybody eating for dinner. We go out there. Restaurants stay open until midnight a lot of times, and stuff. But people go there to enjoy their time. Before the dinner, they go for the aperitivo. They have couple sprees, a couple munching things, and just to open up their appetite and stuff. Then they go there, they eat, they wait because they know cook is being prepared, and there's no rush.
Yeah.
Obviously, you cannot wait 2 hours but I mean, even to me, like I waited in Italy. Last time I went to Italy, I went to eat. I had my appetizer. I wait an hour for the rest of it. But I mean, if the place was busy and the food was cooked fresh,
Yeah.
sure. But in the meantime, you see, I'm not looking my watch, the time to, oh, how long is this taking? Because I'm having a conversation with the person in front of me or the
Right.
the people that are with me. And that's for us. That's what it is about. It's food is a complementary to the people that you're with. So we don't see, oh, how long this is taking. Oh my God.
Right.
You know. But yeah, if you go to eat a pizza, still we still enjoy, take our time. But yeah, pizza is a
And we
little
have
faster
sometimes when we're
to,
busy,
yeah, yeah. But
it's a long wait, but
but we don't have this cultural thing like here. People go to the restaurant to get feed and go back home or whatever, go back whatever they were doing before. So but it's changing.
Yeah.
All this thing is changing. People are more opening to the indulgence of the food and the time and stuff. Happened to me, a lot of people they go vacation, overseas, and they come to, oh my God, this is like in Italy. We really enjoy. And I go there. I say, I'm sorry it took so long. Absolutely no. We enjoyed our time.
Yeah.
We actually reminds us when we went to Italy. So it's kind of, but it's not easy to reset a cultural mind on a
Yeah.
table, to people, unless people are willing to
Right.
do so.
You got to take it as it comes.
Well,
Hey,
there's nothing else we can do.
right.
I mean,
Yeah. So completely random question. It just made me curious. From your experience, is obesity the same in Italy as it is in the
Okay.
United States?
Look, I don't want to talk about it
Okay.
because first thing that I learned, don't talk about people's size here in the States because people are very touchy in this subject. So the first thing that I do in Italy, we actually say, if I see a friend, I look at him and say, "Man, you got fat. If you do this here, oh, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. You cannot talk about your physique. To me, it's like if you come to me and say, "Hey, you gained some weight," I'll start laughing with you. I say, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
don't
can
care. I
definitely
mean, I
gain
am
some
who I
weight.
am. Like.
I'm aware
But
of it.
people, I learned this long time ago. People get very upset about it and very offended. Like they don't talk to you anymore. So don't
Can't
ask me
comment
that.
and you can
But
never ask somebody if they're
to
pregnant
answer your
unless they
question,
want you.
yes.
Okay.
But well, there is a reason behind. So you gotta understand here. I mean, how many millions are here in the States? A lot. So to pull up a production of food over here, and especially there's a lot of fast food, there's a lot of preservatives and all this stuff that affect a lot on our food, on our body. I mean, I was actually reading a documentary couple years ago. They were saying that in Europe and mostly in Italy, there are about over 3,000 type of preservatives or colorants they are forbidden overseas and we still using here. I mean, it's not one or two, over 3,000. So that affects on our body for sure. I mean, last time I went to Italy, because it was a long time I haven't been there. I hate the impossible. I said, I don't have a long time. I got like 15 days. I'm gonna eat it all.
Yeah.
And I was eating like fat, like meat, fat,
Yeah.
bread, pasta, pizza. I mean, the first thing I wanted to eat I took land, and my brother came at the airport to pick us up. I was with my parents because they came here to visit. Uh, and I, okay, we going home. I said, oh no, we're going to have a pizza. I want to have a pizza right now.
Yeah.
And well, let's go home. So we still have a pizza though. That's my first thing I ate. And so in those days, I actually, instead of 15 days, I stayed here longer. I was here, there, longer. And I came back. Actually, lo- I lost 5 pounds.
That's crazy. All the preservatives, what they spray on the wheat and everything over there.
Yeah.
They don't do it like they do
Yeah,
here.
no, they're very particular on what they wanna make go through, and
Yeah.
even McDonald over there, they have to follow
Really.
some rules. Yes, yes, which is different. If you eat McDonald here, you eat over there, you can taste the difference.
Yeah,
I mean, just to talk about it, McDonald example, I'm not saying I don't wanna be sued by McDonald's.
What about the flour that you're buying? I know you buy the imported flour, right?
Yeah,
And I know you were for a while.
yeah.
I wonder if that stuff is under the same guidelines as,
We hope.
Well, it's coming from them. So, but I have a lot of people that say they love pizza, but they can't eat, and I'll challenge them to come in. The same with the red sauce, that they get um, indigestion or heartburn
Yeah.
and stuff, or the gluten bothers them, and I'll just challenge them. Unless you've been diagnosed with celiac disease,
Yeah.
and gluten will kill you. It's not the gluten; it's the chemicals they put in there to artificially age the flour to bring it to market. Just like they put hormones in chickens. It's all about bringing stuff to market faster, so it doesn't sit in a warehouse because time is money.
Yep.
So it's the additives and preservatives and conditioners and everything else, and that's why I don't talk about taste. I never knock anybody else's pizza. I never say my pizza tastes better than so, because taste is a personal preference. If you like
Correct.
XY pizza and you think it tastes good, who am I to say it doesn't taste good to you? but I can tell you I use better ingredients.
Yeah.
Because I know I do, because I can look at my ingredient list and there's 3 versus, 37 that 36 of them you can't pronounce.
Right.
So
You can also tell anytime that I come eat at your place, I eat a whole pizza by myself every time, and
Yes.
I feel great.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
I'm not,
It
I'm
doesn't-
not
so
down and in
true.
the dumps.
yeah, it doesn't give you the bloating
Feeling
and
bad. Oh yeah.
the heartburn and
Well, I
the
tell
acid
you-
reflux and
I
everything.
tell you this: in Italy, before I came here, I was able to eat 3 pizzas with no problem.
In
I mean,
one sitting?
Italian, huh?
In one sitting?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we talked about this in our episode. If they don't cut it, do you start in the middle and eat out, or how do you eat a pizza in the
You eat it with a
It
fork?
depends. Okay,
You do a knife and fork?
rarely. It depends what kind of pizza it is first. If it's like a margherita, I just cut it in half, in quarter actually, and then I
Yeah.
pick it up with my hands. That's it.
You cut it yourself. They don't cut it.
No,
before
no,
they
they
bring
don't.
it
No,
to
no, no, no.
Yeah.
no.
So,
We cut ourselves. They bring the pizza, the
right.
full one without being
Really?
cut. Now, because there is a lot of tourism and stuff, they start cutting, and sometimes it depends, but not everywhere. Most of the time, it's just you think. But I wouldn't have problem. Right now, I can finish one pizza here. I mean, I can eat Island pizza, and on my head, I wouldn't eat another half of it, but I just hold myself because I'm not fatty anymore. But for obvious reasons, I want to be able to sleep. But no, I mean it's they like you said, the ingredients are the big part of here on our industry.
Well, I know that's something that all 3 of you guys places prioritize. From my time at Redbone, I know that the locally sourced items was always a big thing. We've talked about your ingredients and yours as well. And it's stuff like that. And that kind of ties into the next thing I was going to ask y'all, but that's what you're paying for. That's what you go there for. That's something and some people don't know that. So, maybe they need to be educated, but that's of great value. Then and for all the reasons that you were saying, everybody doesn't get into studying all this stuff. Like I just learned what the term a crunchy mom is. I had no idea what that was till like 2 weeks ago. Valerie said it, and then my wife schooled me on it. And she is a crunchy mom. Do y'all know what that is?
I've heard of it. I don't know details,
It's
but
like
Don't ask me.
toxic free mom. She's like a chemical Nazi. So like just like nothing in the house, So so anyways, everybody's not like that, but I'm into a lot of nutrition stuff and just try to take care of your body within reason. And a lot of people don't understand that. But going to Chili's, no knock on Chili's, I like Chili's. I think they got one of the best chain burgers in the game. But going to Chili's is going to be different than going to Redbone because of the ingredients that they're sourcing.
Well, what people don't realize is, I mean, a huge profession in the food industry is food science and food engineering. That every chain restaurant, their food it's not like we cook or like Alice cooking fresh ingredients, looking to see what's local and fresh and cooking up. It's engineered in a lab somewhere. I mean, before new menus come out for chains, they're in a big food science lab somewhere. Now, that's all those chemicals it's designed so that they can get repeatable consistency time after time, no matter which location the chain is, who the employees are. Doesn't matter about the turnout. All they have to do is be able to push the right timer and cook something the right amount of minutes, because it's got conditioners and preservatives, so that literally a chain bread or pizza or something, a minimum wage employee can't mess it up. I mean, it's not because they're not actually making it. It's designed to handle those variations in time and sit in a holding cabinet for a couple hours and still taste the same 3 hours later. It's all chemicals making it do that. It's artificial ingredients.
yeah.
So most of food, if it's not being cooked fresh, it's already been engineered in a lab somewhere, and you're just eating it. And I mean, in today's environment, you can take, and I say before, you can, with chemicals and additives, you can make dirt tastes like something amazing flavor wise. I mean,
Well, that's what
there's
they
artificial
do.
flavors. That doesn't mean it's
Not
good.
meat burgers.
I was gonna say something other than dirt, but
I said.
I was trying to hold off, but it might be a family podcast here. But I mean, literally, that's where we live now. I mean, with enough money, you can make it. And the right companies producing these goods. I mean, everything's engineered.
It's still not easy for us to find actually the right products. Like, I mean, when I first opened, because
Yeah.
you were there
Mhm.
every step of the way, and
Yeah, it was a lot. Everything he wanted to source from
Jeez.
Italy, pretty much. And there was one company that we were getting some stuff from, and I think they're out of California. But I think they were using all the techniques of like the traditional techniques. But yeah,
Yeah.
very tough, especially for this restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, because when you want to do something, like especially the way that I figure, because
Yeah.
when I came down Florence, I figured this. Okay, there are mom and pops restaurant already, right? They've been here for a long time, very successful. So you come in, you don't want to change those things, obviously, because that's what they know. That's what people are used to. So you have a chain restaurants, and without mentioning it, we know them and stuff. So when you want to come in a new place, you want to do something that is not there, so what you do, you just gotta get the best ingredients that you can
Yeah.
have as much possible, and
Mhm.
with a I don't say traditional because but like more authentic that
Yeah.
you can get here, but it's not easy at all. I mean, I have still having trouble now, but
And
you
not
gotta
only that,
adapt.
yeah, but not only that, that's just gonna, I don't know how much people know about this, but all those imported things, I mean, obviously you got to pay for the
Oh yeah.
freight as well. And, you know, that is just the whole other beast that you got to deal with is the food cost. Um,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah, it's funny to me sometimes, and sometimes it's understandable because people they have not the knowledge of what we pay for stuff and
Right.
I mean, I remember I had a review. A person actually did a food cost on a dish that he had.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking.
Uh-oh.
It was a couple years ago, I think so. And I think he got chicken and said, well, he was maybe 4 ounces of chicken, which was true because my chicken or breast, they are like single. I put it for breast, they are minimum 6 ounces.
Yeah.
uh, so, and he paid this for this, or paid this for that. If I go buy chicken, I would have paid $2 for that piece of chicken, and I had to pay $22. I was like, I'm like, you see, you got to be serious. Like, here, I'm okay, but they don't understand. Yes, even if I had the chicken for $2, I still have to prepare for you. I had to cut it. I had it, put the ingredients on it. I gotta cook it, gotta pay the gas. I got the electricity. You eating on a plate. You're not eating on a floor.
Mhm.
I got a dishwasher I gotta pay. I got the water I gotta pay.
Mhm.
I got the taxes
Mhm.
that I have to pay.
Mhm.
And people, a lot of times, people just think that, oh, if I go buy, I spend less. Of course you do. But you come in the restaurant not to spend less. You're gonna come in the restaurant because you've been served, that you don't have to do anything
Right.
but eating and enjoy it.
We
So
talked about that in our podcast is people don't understand the cost of doing business. It's not this day and time. It's not like old days. You can take your ingredient cost and double it, and that's how you're profitable. I mean, you have to look at everything, and you have to determine your break even. You have to calculate your margins, and to get your profit. It depends on where you're at and what you're buying, and people don't understand those hidden costs of doing business today. Y'all even more so than the smaller with the liability insurance and the liquor liability and the licenses and the taxes and the inspection fees, and it's never ending.
The employees, the utilities, everything that goes along with it. It's kind of crazy when you break it down. JJ, whenever we it's probably like two months in, we were sitting down having a meeting, and he said, "Man, the margins are real thin in the restaurant business." I said, "Oh yeah, like it's. I mean, even more than we even thought. Even working on the other side of the restaurant, or even working for food distribution, when you're in it and you're owning your business, the margins are so thin, and there's so little room for error as far as leaving a sink running or leaving lights on, or keeping an employee clocked in longer than they should be. It's a lot.
So I got a question on that. So an old, what, not an old friend of mine, a friend of mine a while back that I worked for actually, he used to say that volume solves all our problems. So is that really what it comes down to for you guys? I mean, the margins are slim, so volume, is that really the name of the game?
I'd say to an extent, yes, but you also don't want to use it, you know, as a crutch to cover a a bad run business. Because we're kind of in a process right now of fixing some things, labor costs, food cost, all of those things that we can kind of correct and tweak. Um, but yeah, some weeks we have really strong weeks that kind of cover it up, so our percentages go down where we kind of want them. But then it's like, but we really didn't fix the root cause of this problem. So let's try to go back, because then when we do have those big weeks, there's more, on our bottom line. So that's the biggest thing. I think it's kind of like a happy medium in a sense.
Yeah, I think you can hit a point of diminishing returns with volume if your margins are too low. I mean, nothing corrects a loss, so it doesn't matter what your volume is if you're not turning a profit and you're out of business soon. I think I told the example, there was a restaurant, and it's been many years back, that opened up, and I saw one day they had the big little marquee sign, and they were advertising 3 hot dogs and fries for $5, and I'm like, well, they'll be closed in a month. And they probably had a ton of people coming in to get that, because that's an amazing deal, but you can't survive selling 3 hot dogs and fries for $5.
So what do you think put them in that situation, that they were
Trying to get people in the door. I mean, they had no business, so they were trying to drum up volume. But if the volume's not profitable, it's just losing money faster.
So you mentioned food costs. What's going on with food costs currently?
I personally, I can't keep up. It keeps going up. I mean, I changed my prices because I couldn't keep up, just breaking even. And then, change your prices. And then when you put the menu, the price goes up again. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? It because you gotta hit that stop, because then people don't gonna wanna come in anymore, because
Right.
so you have to okay, what I would do, I would just survive for now and see what's gonna happen. But you are in the business to make some money, which is very
Honestly, I think
rare.
it's an easier conversation than it has been in the past, because you can always say, "Hey, last time you went to the grocery store, how much money did you spend for 3 or 4 people?" Even if it's for a 3 or 4 day period, I mean, you spend 3, 4, $500 at the grocery store in a blink of an eye.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, obviously, for us to have to go up a little bit on prices to, I mean, we went through, our busiest month of the year was December, and we finish out, and we started looking at numbers, and because the food costs was so high, especially in holiday months where steaks are higher, because they're in more, need from the public. Anytime the retail market goes up, the whole market goes up. Summer is about to happen again with summer, with hamburgers and steaks again. People grilling out more starts to go up a little bit more, and if you don't do a new menu or adjustments twice a year, there's going to be a half a year where you're falling behind, and then you make it up in the other half of the year. But I mean, as far as prices go right now, I mean, they're definitely high. I mean, we see some items coming down here and there, but yeah, they're higher than they've been, way higher than they've been. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're buying, crazy high end ingredients. Alan, you do the
Talking to
same
me.
thing, Oh yeah, yeah, both of y'all. So I mean, it's a lot. It's a
Mine's not
lot.
as bad for me, because I use so much flour. You can see a small price, but I mean, you get so many pizzas out of a bag of flour. I mean, it's still an increase, but it's not like I don't buy as much whole proteins as y'all do, like steaks and the chicken and everything. I use more vegetables, and now cheese makes a big difference, but it's gone up some, but not like eggs and like the
Yeah.
bakery business right now. Good Lord, I can just with eggs
Yeah.
and shortening.
I was showing to him today. I was doing the orders, and I looked because to make the pasta, I use pasteurized yolk, eggs, white and egg yolks separated, and I noticed that the the yolks, they went up a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, 50% up
Yep.
in the last couple months, I think so.
Easy.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, but it's pasta. It doesn't cost money. Um, I kind of disagree with it. Yeah, I mean, you buy flour from overseas, then you buy the eggs. That you need the eggs to make the pasta and everything. I mean, I can make pasta without eggs, but it won't be the same thing. It
Right.
doesn't have the same consistency, the same quality. But so it's just yeah. I mean, people. I mean, there are few people. There are people they know they understand that, and they know where they're going and everything. But we cannot just rely for those people that understand. We have to rely for more. Because again, the business is gonna be successful if you have more audience, people coming in. So you gotta get everybody at the same page to understand that it's no easy because everybody don't have the same pocket, so it's kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's been for like you say, yeah, for people that buy high ends product to start with is kind of hard, and not considering that we have the loss if people don't come in, especially vegetables and fresh stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I gonna do? Because I cannot serve you the salad if it has some that thing, and just because that's a loss, and
Oh, yeah.
I think a big thing too is to help with food costs. Uh, Main thing is trying to cross utilize what you have. Dale, the original owner of Redbone, was very good at, we cut our whole steaks, all the scraps that we have, grind it, and that's going to go in the pizza dip. And I don't know if I mean I'm sure you guys. I know you've had your handful of pizza dips in your life, but he did a very good job at breaking down ingredients and just using it throughout the menu, and that there's pretty much no waste. I think that's the biggest thing. And then you have your items that are, upper 30% food costs, and then you have your items that are in the teens. I mean, you just got to have a good balance. I think that's the biggest thing. Um, you can't have everything right at 30%. It's never going to happen. Or high 20s. It'll never happen. And then, there's other things too. It's going to be upper 30s, maybe even low 40s, but that's when you got to think, all right, well, every time I sell this dish, I get this many dollars.
Right.
It's not a percentage kind of thing. So that's kind of how you got to look at the food costs, in my opinion.
oh yeah, it has to be a balance. The menu has to be balanced.
Yeah.
Because you gotta have the dish that makes you a little more that will, cover the loss that you have on the other dish.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
like for me the fillet,
Mm-hmm.
like there's not much to make in the dish.
No.
Even if it costs more, but the money that you make it's not
But that
probably
dish
you
probably nothing,
You
but
make less
but
percentage,
you
but more dollars.
correct.
Right.
But you have the option that you give to the people
Mm-hmm.
to do that.
So you make your
And
money on, some of your profit margin on the wine, on the appetizer, on whatever else you can kind of sell them on. And honestly, that fillet probably brings them in the door with whoever else they're with that might get something else.
correct, exactly. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
Because if it was for me, wouldn't be there.
Right. Yeah.
Well, for the money that I paid for, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be there.
We know that the markup on alcohol is higher, right? So I was just thinking, we were talking about it, thinking about the guy that you said that left a comment. I'm like, I wonder if that same guy that went and tried to itemize your whole dish on the internet drinks when he goes to a restaurant, because I bet he's not. If did he have a complaint about that? Because that's every restaurant you go to.
No, they don't.
So a shot doesn't cost $12 out of a bottle of Crown or something like that. It's much
I think
cheaper.
they just don't understand the markup on that stuff.
Yeah.
That's my only guess.
Well, too, he's complaining about it. You say $22 chicken dish, but if he went to the store and if he bought that piece of chicken for $2, but if he bought everything he needed to recreate that dish at home, he would have spent more than $22, and he might have cost it out. And his one plate was less than that, but he's going to throw all the rest of that away because he's probably not going to cook that dish 4 meals in a row.
Absolutely.
And I do that all the time because I like to cook and I cook at home, and I'll do the same thing to save money. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna cook this for me and my wife for dinner. But then when I leave the grocery store, it's still $45.
Yeah.
And I cook it at home. It's like I saved a little bit of money, but then a lot of that's gonna sit in the refrigerator because I'm gonna go back to work the next day and work the next 5 days in a row nonstop. And it'll go bad by the time I get to it again. So there's a lot of factors when you're eating out and looking at the cost.
You don't think about having to pay that person to cook it. Like you said, you don't think about the person that has to clean the dishes. I mean, you have to do all that. A lot of times we go out to eat so that we don't have to deal with the mess. A lot of
100%.
times we'll get family together and say, "Hey, can we cook at your house?" Like, let's go eat. That way we don't have to clean up all the mess afterwards. But I mean, it's hard to get people to understand that sometimes, but
And also, our industry changed. I noticed this in the years that I've been here. It changed a lot the way the restaurant buy their food, the stuff from the companies. We don't have anymore the margin that we used to have before buying from the big company or buy to the grocery store. You buy the same
yeah.
prices,
Yeah.
sometimes even cheaper.
Yeah.
Before, the convenience was, yes, they bring it in to your restaurant, but we buy half of what we could have buy at the store,
Yeah.
at the grocery store. Now we lost the margin,
Yeah.
and
So
it's
really, the only benefit is the truck backs it up and sends
no,
it,
no,
you know,
correct,
your own
correct. If you
vehicle.
look at it, look, a lot of times I go sit down over there, I look up to the price that he knows well. I look up the price, then I look, I go to the grocery. I'm like, it costs less over there.
Yeah.
Why would I buy there? But you cannot buy from the grocery store.
There is some differences in quality, even when it's, say a pre-pattied burger from this brand versus the same brand pre-patty burger that we would buy from a big vendor. There are some differences between wholesale and, and retail, but overall, you're exactly right on that for sure. Especially when you're talking about like to-go boxes, stuff like that. But all these big places like Sam's and
Yeah.
Walmart or whatever, they're just buying in such a big, volume. It's crazy. So I'm guessing that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
But it's still, you're right. It has changed a
And
lot.
it was a bigger margin before. It used to
Yeah.
be. I mean, I've been here 20 years
Mhm.
in the States, and I've noticed the
Yeah. Well, distributors have the
that-
same. I mean, every
Yeah.
business has the same things to deal with, and if you don't track it all the way back to the source, I mean, it's like distributors trying to find, guys in the warehouse that are dependable. They have to keep paying more to get dependable help, or so that the stuff gets put on your truck right, and then the drivers, and then man, so it's just a never ending battle.
Touch the food.
Yeah, there's just, I mean,
It's crazy.
and something that we haven't touched on. I mean, to go along with the inflation of goods and food costs and everything else, the labor costs these days is crazy because in order to keep that employee that's your best employee that's doing a great job, you got to pay him a lot more money than you had in the past. In order to get people to kind of do more, you got to pay them more money, and money motivates everybody now. So that's something that
is the only
that we've
motivation
gone
right
through.
now.
You got Bucky's paying $22 an hour right in the door, so
Exactly.
it's hard to compete with that for a lot of
I hear they're
businesses.
very strict though.
yeah,
Very
they
strict.
are. I mean, we've had people come, for a lot less because it's. I mean, you get one shot, but they probably got 1,000 applications waiting in
Right.
line.
They can just rotate the next
and it's
person
just
in.
yeah, it's. But yeah, people don't understand how that makes costs go up because if you have to pay more, you have to raise your prices to cover that cost. And everything's gross sales leads to everything. I mean, your insurance costs, your taxes, your license fees, your insurance fees. First thing you want to know is what your gross sales are. So if you do anything, if you have to raise your prices for anything, and labor is the biggest thing to make you raise prices to cover those labor increases, then every other expense you have goes up too.
That's
I
right.
mean, every single one of them goes up.
Should we break the thing?
Well, look, I don't want it to all sound negative because I'm gonna ask another question that we're gonna get even more dark
I know
with.
we're
But
very positive. Actually.
yeah, but just real quick.
Trust me.
You had to ask us why we do this.
We're very positive about it.
Well, that's why I led with the question I did, and I know that I imagine it from getting to know you guys, particularly the two of you, even more so. But that's why I said, at the core of this, that's why we led with that is wanting to getting satisfaction out of serving the people here. And I mean, the people know for me that follow this platform, and have been watching what I do. I deeply, passionately, genuinely care about the Florence food scene. You guys are what makes it run. You are the Florence food scene, and I know that that passion is there. It's business, cost of doing business, like you said. I've heard it a million times in my old place. CEO would come through the warehouse, and you hear another $15,000 check going out the door. That's basically like R&D. It's just gone. It's cost of doing business. It's just the way that it is. But people don't understand that, and so the education is helpful. I think it's just the ins and outs.
Yeah.
So with that said, to keep going down this path, though, what is the hardest part of running a restaurant?
Probably managing the people.
People. Yeah. That's where I
customers
was.
and employees. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody has to be handled differently. You have to understand personalities. You have to learn what
Be a
motivates
therapist.
some, doesn't
Be a
doesn't
therapist for
motivate others.
people.
Be their father.
Yeah.
But you also have to be
For
so
real.
fragile with everyone, you know. I mean, back in the day, we were in the restaurant business, you know, you get stuff thrown at you, hollered, cussed, whatever. I mean, you know, but I
Oh
mean,
my God.
it was the way that it
Absolutely.
was, you know. But now you got to be so careful on what you say, how you say it, who you say it to. You know, everyone is different. Every customer is different. Every employee is different, and you honestly have to be a chameleon in every aspect of it. You've got to be able to shift from one person to the next, to each personality to make sure that you're doing it right. Um, and it's I mean, it's a process every single day. I mean, we literally do it from the time we get there to the time we leave. Managing the people is by far the hardest thing. Cooking the food's the easiest part.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
So next time I come to you guys, if I want to talk about something, go
There might be a line.
go my own therapy.
I went through it the wrong time, man. All those things you said, I've experienced. So it's, hey,
I mean, it was just common
Man.
back then. So it was the rite of passage.
But we were also doing our job
Mm-hmm.
to the best of our ability, the majority of us. And we were showing up to work on time. We were showing up when we were scheduled. You know, we were doing it the right way. So I mean, hey, look, a little bit of, you know, constructive criticism, you know, was fine.
well, it made you better too. It was a different time. I mean, we were talking about servers earlier, and everybody's not really cut out for it. Is really just the way to say it. Everybody's just not. You got to be able to multitask. You got to be able to have the thick skin, and you got to be able to accept the losses and own your mistakes too, and just acknowledge it. Man, I screwed that one up. Like I totally forgot to put their order in. I forgot to hit record on this thing earlier. You think I never forgot to put an order in? I did. And so you have to know how to roll with that, and everybody can't do it, you know. But those environments that we were in, I remember, especially back in the beginning. But we had some all-star teams, and I'll go eat now, and I'm like, man, we would have crushed it in here. Like we would have made so much money in here, just because it's a well, it's like everything else. It's a skill set, you know. So
Well, I think we're losing the work ethic,
Yeah.
the mindset of work ethic, not the work, because there are some kids and some people that still have that, you know, like, but it's just that we're losing their somewhere their mind or work, you know, their work ethic. People losing the mind. They come to work and it's one of your responsibility, you know, to come to work. You're getting paid to do your job, not to just pass your time, you know, like, and just, yeah, I'm here, I'm hanging out here. It's my hobby. I don't know. I have nothing to do. You know, I have nothing to do at home today. I guess I'm going over there, and that's what we're losing. And it's just like you say, we used to, you know, get up. Yeah, what time is it? 7. I have to be there 7:30. I have to be at working at 7:30, and we were there. We were just rushing.
Oh yeah.
People lost this.
Well, they hear, the problem is young people hear the complaints too about how hard it is to find help, and they hear, they've probably heard me talking to customers about it before and stuff, so I always try to do my best to praise them and tell them they're doing a good job when they are.
Absolutely, you have to.
But it's like when we were coming up, I grew up at Myrtle Beach, so I've been working since I was knee high to a grasshopper. We worked in restaurants, and it was a privilege to have a job because everybody wanted to work.
Yeah.
And to get in a good restaurant or you had to know somebody already working there. Your parents had to know the owners or something, a manager, and try to get on there. And you were lucky and honored to be able to work at a good place. And now it's like the employees feel like you should be honored that I'm working for you.
Right.
Not that I should feel honored I get to work here.
Yeah.
You should feel honored I'm working for you, so.
A restaurant, you know, our size too, it gets so hard because everybody wants to be an individual in the restaurant. And, you know, if you work together, like we did back in the day, man, we all came in, we all helped each other the whole time. You know, we waited on each other's tables, we refilled drinks, we ran food, we bussed tables, we did all of it. We didn't have to have all this extra labor to help us out because we did it to help each other out. And in turn, the customer had better service because they had 3 or 4 people waiting on them. So there was always somebody by there helping them out. And now people get frustrated and they're like, don't touch my table. Like, well, you're not doing everything that table needs. There needs to be more people to touch that table, and they don't understand it. So when they get that tip at the end of it, and they say, "Well, I mean, they didn't even tip me anything," I was like, "Well, it's because you didn't take good care of them in any way, shape, or form." But if you and the person next to you work together on all your tables, then you both give great service to all your tables together. You work together, you're more efficient, you're more productive, and in turn, you make more money.
And
Yeah,
I have the perfect example. Luciano, my waiter, the older guy, you know, everybody knows Luciano.
I love
In the end of the night, you see the difference on the tips.
Oh yeah,
I mean, 90% of the time he makes more tip than everybody.
yeah.
90% of the time.
He's creating the experience too.
Even though he can speak correct English, a lot of people have a hard time to understand him, which we had some comment to some people comment obviously on the review. Is anybody speak English in that place? I'm like, really? I'm okay. Look, no, I take
Italian, but I expect you to speak perfect
I
English.
take yeah, exactly. I take everything like
Nailed that.
I want to see this person going on vacation to Italy, and get the waiter. Hey, don't you speak Italian over here? But you know, like, but you can see I see every night the different they have the margin of
Yeah.
and so it shows you the all the I would say the old thing. I used can say it better way, but you know, like the old that we are used to, like the work ethic that we were have before. Of that now, you can see the difference on it, and they could. Oh, why he makes more money? Because he takes care of his table.
Yeah, like you said,
That's what he does.
some people are more natural at it, and they just
And
their
he doesn't.
personality-
He does understand half of things people tells him. You know, I see him like all the time. Yeah, I'm just. I mean, look, I have too much fun with him because he's a target
Yeah.
to have fun with. He's easy going. I mean, even people yelling at him, at the customer, telling him horrible things, and I'm like, he's not reacting at all. I can't believe it. And then I go to him. Did you understand what they tell you? Why? What did I say? I said, "Oh my god, okay, it's so good, man. Just keep going."
That's so funny.
But that's the thing. That's how he is. He doesn't care.
Oh yeah, I know.
Even to me, sometimes I yell at him. He's the only person that I yell over here because that's how we communicate. You know. But after that, everything is gone. They say done. We don't keep going or whatever. Uh, and he resets himself. He just does change this. It's like nothing happens. Like he's
What we talked about earlier with having thick skin. That's
Mhm.
that's the way the old kitchens used to be. Everybody
we
yelling
get,
and fussing and fighting, and then going out to drink together afterwards.
because he's used to back in the days. I mean, back in the days, they used to throw away pans and plates and stuff. I'm not joking.
No doubt.
I mean, I work in a kitchen in Italy. It was a big kitchen thing. I see plates flying. I mean, you guys see like Gordon Ramsay in the thing. Yeah, he's a little dramatic because he's got to make the show, obviously. But if you used to go on an older kitchens, it wasn't that far off. I mean, you see people just throwing plates to each other, like all the chef going crazy, go ballistic, and just throwing dishes and stuff. Now everything is chef because I mean, to me it's too much. I never would do that, but when the people, if you say something to them, they look at you like, why are you yelling, man? I'm telling you, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just explaining things like, and they get so put a barrier on it, and they won't even listen. They don't want to listen
Yeah.
to them. You're yelling them and not explain what actually they did, and so they just say they're done. You have to go back like 2 days after probably to explain them and reconnect that fact what happened and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. You say one wrong thing and it affects the next 4 or 5 steps in their process.
Oh, it's a chain.
Big time, man. Actually, I coach baseball, and my son, is very, very competitive, and he gets to a point to where if he strikes out or something doesn't go his way, he gets a little upset because he's so competitive. And we have a rule now: you have 5 seconds to be upset in your mind about it, and then you've got to move on. And it's you know, in the restaurant business, you say one wrong thing, and next thing you know, you got a fry cook that's staring at the ceiling, spiraling, and we're in the weeds and we're done. You know, because he didn't like the way that he was talked to or something else. It's hard for them to, you know, kind of, all right, this in the heat of the moment, we're all getting worked pretty hard right now. Let it pass off my back, and we can talk about it later. You know, it's fine. I've got to get this food out. But you hit one person with the wrong comment, and they shut down, and then next thing you know, everybody, you know,
You're only as
is in
strong
the
as your
weeds.
weakest link.
That's a fact.
It's hard, man. Everybody just doesn't have the maturity, like, because it helps when you get to a place where you can start to understand that stuff. Like, okay, the guy on the line is under pressure too. There's the 45-minute wait at the door. Everybody's going down everywhere. We're all in the weeds. Dishwashers piled up like this. Like everybody's under pressure and stress. And it helps when you can understand that. Then you don't get offended by stuff so easily.
Yeah.
Like he's upset. I got it. I get why he's upset. I'm upset too.
Yeah.
And just keep moving.
Okay, we go back to the first question. Why we do that?
Yeah.
Honestly, they should give a. I think they should give a class. I always said that when I got out of you know, working in the restaurants the first time and moved over to the food distribution side, and you go out and you see things, and I always thought, man, it'd be great if everybody, when they finished high school, if they just took 3 or 4 months or 6 months or whatever and got into the hospitality business and did it so that they could understand, because a lot of people don't understand. They don't get
Absolutely.
the ins and outs of it, and it's like, well, man, I don't understand why my food's taking long. Like, what the steps for us to get that food to your table is a ton, you know, because I mean, all of us use fresh ingredients. We make all of our stuff in house. It's a lot. It's a very, very long process. And if we run out of something, or if we burn something, or if we put something up that we don't like, we're gonna remake it to make sure that our customer has a great experience, and that takes time. But and money,
It's like
absolutely.
you know, some country, like we had a South Korean student live with us, exchange student live with us for a year. You know, South Korea, every male has to spend 2 years in the army. I think like you talking about, everybody when they graduate high school should have to spend at least 6 months in the hospitality business or something, just so when they become an adult and get out on their own,
In Italy,
they know when they go out to eat.
in Italy, we used to do that.
Yeah.
They changed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used to say that.
I was probably the last year.
Not the army
that
thing,
we
the
did
restaurant
that.
thing.
Was,
Yeah,
was
if you have
mandatory.
never worked in hospitality in any way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
you cannot
yeah.
comprehend as an adult, you know, what when you go complain about something.
It'll
I
humble
mean,
you a lot.
you don't
Yeah.
you don't know what you think it's easy, and it's just because you made a sandwich at home one time, you know what it's like in the kitchen. No, it's
What I say, just because you have a dog doesn't make you an expert on wolves.
So that opens up something. I am gonna jump on soapbox for just a second, because this has been going on for a while, and I've been seeing this. And the plan for this episode wasn't necessarily for it to go the direction that it did, but it just kind of works for this, because one thing that we've been trying to do on the channel for like a year plus now is low key, kind of an undercurrent of everything else, is educate a little bit, because we talk a lot about the Florence food scene and wanting to see it develop. It's growing, a lot of stuff's changing, and it's all positive. But I think that a lot of the problem we've had in Florence is it's been tough plowing in our area. And so to make it specific, because we've got the Facebook group, and you know, I'm in a business now where reviews are very important. So we as realtors do stuff. I could tell some stories, but I won't, because it probably just wouldn't be appropriate. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you have no idea about, that you don't even know about, and you wouldn't know unless you were in it. And it's very easy for somebody to go onto the internet and leave a negative comment that can be extremely detrimental to somebody in my business, that may not even be accurate, because it may not tell the whole story. And the problem with these reviews is there's no filter. There's no regulation to them. So you can tell your side of the story. Now, granted, business owners can respond, but it's optics. And so once that thing's on there and that star rating starts to go down, especially if you haven't had a lot of ratings, so you haven't kind of built it up to tell a better story, which is the end of this, I would encourage people to do, is look at the whole story. It can be detrimental. And a lot of the same people that have complained about lack of quality places and unique places to eat in Florence are the same people, I think, that are probably quick to go onto the internet and leave a negative review to guys like these because you had a bad experience. And what I would say is that bad experiences happen. You know, stuff happens. You're hearing all the stuff that goes on in a restaurant. It's not just as easy as some people may think. So things can, not be ideal. It happens. But before being so quick to go leave some super hypercritical review with 1 star on Google, I would say I've had people reach out to me since we started doing this. None of you guys, well, you mentioned it in the podcast episode we did, but I've had people reach out to me personally and say, um, I wish people would just call me or email me or just ask for me to come
Before
out.
you leave,
Yeah,
talk
and
to
talk
us.
to right.
Yeah.
Because listen, that negative review can really negatively impact the business flow of that business. And we talked about food costs and we talked about labor costs and taxes and all of these things. So it's a trickle down effect that negatively affects their bottom line. And if their bottom line is negatively impacted, the next guy probably doesn't want to set up a restaurant here because he's like, I'm not going to make any money there. And so if we're going to be super hypercritical and just not extend any grace to our local restaurants or small business owners in general for that matter, then we cannot complain. Let's just accept the McDonald's and the Chili's. No disrespect to McDonald's and Chili's. Let's eat our double cheeseburgers and be happy. But if we want to see this change, then we need to learn how to extend a little bit of grace. And I was talking about this 2 days ago. I was upset about some comments that were made. It's not even my restaurant. Like I don't make any money doing this. Had nothing to do with my pocket, but I was upset at what I was seeing. And my buddy was like, truth wins out. He's like, don't worry about him. But I think that what I would encourage is 2 things. One, before you leave that negative review, see if you can really get the full story and see if you can make contact with somebody like the owner of the restaurant and kind of sort through it. The second thing I would say, actually 3 things I'm going to say, if you're going to go off of reviews, if somebody's got, to be specific, I'll just say it that way, 142 reviews and they've got a 4.7 rating, that's a high rating, but there's this one bad comment, look at the other 95 positive comments and factor that into your decision making is another thing. And the third thing I would say is we need to be more proactive. And I'm telling myself this too. I'm realizing this is important to leave positive reviews, to cancel some of this stuff out. So if you have a restaurant that you like, or if you go to a place that you haven't been to in a long time or that you're going to for the first time and you enjoy it, and even as I'm saying this, I got a place I went to for the first time Saturday, and I'm going to go do this. I'm going to try to practice what I preach. Go leave a positive review because it helps these guys out a lot. And it's not just about helping them out. It's our whole food scene. And if you don't like a place, you don't have to leave a bad review. Just don't go there, But I even if I didn't, and I do like all of you guys' restaurant for the record, but if I didn't, I still want to see you guys succeed because each restaurant's success holistically feeds into the success of the other places that I may like to go. So if you want to see Florence continue to grow and become a food destination, because I think that it can, like we were talking about, then we've got to, and some of it is a Florence thing. I think we're not a big city. So when we carry ourselves the way that these guys in New York are doing with the internet, we do more damage than happens in those larger areas. And I think we need to be aware of that and be responsible with what we put on the internet. So that's my 2 cents on
What a
that.
segue. That was great.
If you really care about the local food scene and you want there to be good places to eat, you should want restaurants to solve their issues, not bash them for their issues. And I think if you're going to if you want to leave a positive review, leave them all day long. But if you want to leave a negative review, any negative review should start out something like, after 3 visits and and talking with the owner and the manager and them not, then go tell your problem. But if you've been a place one time and you were excited to go there and it just wasn't your thing, to go on there and bash it without asking them to fix it, without letting them know something was wrong, because we don't always know. It could rush. We don't know. Let us know what it was. Give us a chance to fix it.
I mean, we just can't fix what we don't know.
And also,
That's what we
I
tell
can
people
see
all
Give
the
us the
time.
opportunity, to fix it and make it right, and then try it again, before you just go bashing it. Because some people, I think it just makes them feel better about themselves to put somebody else back.
a lot of times these reviews they are made out of anger.
Yeah, there's always an underlying thing.
And a lot of times that because I read it all of it, because they are there to make us better, to understand okay why we did this.
Especially a
And,
restaurant that's been there for years, and you read one of the awful reviews or something, you're like,
and
if they were truly that bad on a consistent
correct,
basis,
they're not
they wouldn't be
realistic.
open anymore.
They're not realistic.
You
That's
gotta
the
take it
only
with a
thing.
grain of salt.
for me personally, I can take a bad review because we know we are humans.
Yeah.
We make mistakes. We make mistakes on decisions, what to do at the moment, uh, and all the thing. But at least if you want to put a bad review, make sure there is a reality, what actually happened, and not just because you are angry at the moment, you just start making up things that
It's reckless. I'm all about freedom of speech, so that's why we don't censor stuff in the group. You can say whatever you want to say within reason. If you get way out there, then we might have to take it down. But um, you have the right to have an opinion. I'm just saying, I think you have the right to have a gun, but you shouldn't just go out shooting it everywhere. You got to be responsible. And in this town, your opinion like matters. You can really do some damage with a review that you probably could have handled or said in a different way. So.
Yeah, there's definitely some there since we've taken over. We've had a handful of negative reviews, and I'll try to like stalk them on Facebook and find them and message them personally from my personal page. I don't really deal with the Google reviews too much. I don't really work with that, but we'll find them on Facebook, and every single bad review that we've had that I've got to talk to them, they just want to be heard. There's something like they were either hangry or something, and they didn't get their drink within the minute that they were expecting it, and that's it. It's nothing crazy that we've done that was way out of the norm of our normal service. It's normally just one little thing, and it's usually a personal thing, and they just want to lash out at the
Right.
easiest thing.
Yeah,
So
that's happens a lot.
yeah, it does. It really does. Unfortunately.
I mean, every part of the restaurant affects the customer's experience. So, like, I mean, we tell our hostesses, you're the most important part of the restaurant because you're the first person they see when they walk in. And if you create a bad standard as soon as they walk in the door, no matter what, they could sit down and have the best meal they've ever had at Redbone Alley. It's still not going to be the best meal because they're mad at how they were treated at the door, or the windows being dirty, or the bathrooms being dirty, or this or that. There's so many things that can set somebody off to make them be like, you know what, it wasn't as good this time. But in their mind, they're like, man, that steak was the best steak I've ever had, but it could have been better because of this, this, and this.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for that. By the way, that means
was
a
a
lot.
good.
That was
well,
great. That was awesome.
And also, I got a complaint
Oh, now you're going to complain.
about Rebel Pie because it closed on Monday. I cannot go to the pizza tomorrow.
I feel the same way about you.
We gotta. We are open for signing up. Take a
petition?
yes,
Yeah.
a petition to make a apple pie open up on Mondays.
That's funny.
But before we move on, just your point, I did get this. Now, this has been years ago, not long after we opened. I did get a 1-star review one time because people said they were traveling. They came by on a Sunday and we weren't open. So they gave my
1-star?
food a 1-star review because I wasn't open on a Sunday.
Oh,
See,
I
stuff
got,
like
I
that.
got that.
You need to print that and
Wait,
I
frame
got
it.
that too.
Print it and frame it.
We got one during the hurricane. They had a paper sign on the door saying they were closed.
Winds
How
were only
tacky. I was
82
like,
miles an hour and they were
how
closed.
tacky. That's the fastest thing we could get up. We had to get out,
Can I tell you one better? I got a one 2 years ago. No, I think it was last year, Valentine's Day. These people, they couldn't get in because it was on reservations. I mean, look the place.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get at the door, right? They came in the door, the hostess told her, look, I don't have a table for you. I have other 10 couples waiting. And so they got mad. They left. They went to Sibos. And then the next day we saw a review. They actually put a review to us and to Sibos. And they were, and they say, well, I'm, what I say, I'm happy that I wouldn't get in. I don't understand. How can you have a seat on Valentine's Day? And anyway, the place smelled too. I was like, you didn't even walk in. And they put 1-star review. And that's the problem. On we cannot do anything. Like, I mean, of Google everything. They should check these things if they are real or not.
The place reeked
how can
of
you
roasted
make
garlic and marinara.
Yeah. How can you make a review if you didn't even walked in the place? It was funny. It was hilarious. I was like, golly. And then they put a picture of Sibos, and they were upset about Sibos food.
Wow.
So these people, I think they were from California, and they just moved here and stuff. I was like, oh my god,
That's
really?
funny.
You put a bad review because you couldn't get in the restaurant on Valentine's Day, which
Yeah, Mother's Day and Valentine's Day are the two biggest days of the year.
it's just I was like really wow.
Yeah, those you
Cool.
just have to
It's
let it
funny.
roll off.
Yeah.
It's funny. Those are the best ones, actually. We should put all the bad reviews in one book.
We should. We could laugh about a bunch of them for sure.
I do like some of the restaurants you'll see, these viral videos where they'll take a review like that and make shirts out of it. Come try the worst steak in so and so or whatever.
That's a good idea, actually. That's great marketing.
Should do
You
this.
should-
Make
I
flyers.
feel like they all do that at the beach. They all have some kind of gimmick like that on those big restaurants.
That's a great way to spin that, dude.
Come try the
Honestly,
soggiest pizza in South Carolina.
you could put
know,
mailers out and send. That would bring people in the door. I know it would.
Yeah.
Take your worst reviews, put them on a mailer, and just shoot them out to like 5 neighborhoods.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's hilarious.
There was a politician in Italy, a big one. He used to say, I don't care how people talk about me. Actually, if they talk bad about me, I don't care because they still talk about me.
All publicity is good publicity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say, at least. I don't know if that's as true as it used to be.
That's why these actors and actresses can't sue these tabloids and everything, 'cause it's still good for their career, even if it's talking junk. It's like,
Even though they were abducted and raped by aliens. Nonsense. That's a perfect segue, if you guys will, to a segment that we call the Florence Foodie's favorite Florence food item.
Say that 3 times fast.
I did it once successfully, so I'm gonna stop there. So today's Florence Foodie's favorite Florence food item segment is sponsored by Drayton Realty Group. So JJ, I'm gonna start with you.
Okay.
We're gonna do it a little bit different today. This is rapid fire, so just
Rapid fire. Okay.
I mean, you can, elaborate, but rapid fire, because otherwise it might, we got 4 guys. What is your favorite food item from the guy to your right? In this case, Alex. We're going to go to the right from Alex's restaurant.
Okay. Well, I don't think this is on the menu. This goes back when he first opened up, actually. I'm not huge. I know this is crazy, but I'm not huge on like any kind of seafood or anything like that. And he insisted that I try. I think it was bronzini when you were making that. Is that on the menu now?
No.
No, it was like a special. And it was honestly the best tasting thing ever. And I actually love bronzini now. I haven't had it anywhere else other than here, but it was delicious. And then another time, I used to come in around 2 to 3 o'clock when I was his food rep, and he would always cook something for me. And he had this pasta, and I think it was like black or something like that. And I found out that you use squid ink for that. And then the meat in it, he was like, "How do you like it?" And I was like, "It's amazing. It tastes awesome." And turns out it was octopus. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I like seafood now.
It's
But
funny, Alex. He's been trying to do the
to be
bronzini special at
Yeah.
Redbone for the last
yeah,
5
seriously, he
months.
was like, what are we going to do for a special, like a fresh catch or whatever? I was like, let's do bronzini. It's the only fish I like.
To be specific, he used to come that time because he knew I was having my lunch.
Yes. Yep, you and Luciano over there.
I was gonna say, you're making us all look bad here. Al.
Yep. But yeah, that's my favorite of his. And obviously, these things too. Those are delicious. Everything is great.
Thank you. I can tell you the recipe.
All right.
My
What about-
turn. Oh, that's
what about you?
easy. Pizza.
Not much else you
All
gonna
right,
get.
good
Okay,
answer, Alan.
I can tell you this. A long time ago, before I came back to Florence, I came by to visit my business partner right now, their family, and we went out to eat. And we went to Alan's place because it was the first time I went actually to this location that we are now, and of course, and that's all day, man, my thing. So, and I was very impressed his pizza.
Yeah.
I told my business partner, which they lived in Italy, they're from Italy and stuff, and they said this is the best pizza ever here in the States, because I was very impressed from the dough, how light it was and stuff. Besides, a lot of people I understand they cannot like Neapolitan style pizza, That's what I grew up with. It, that's what is most of in Italy. Pizzas are, and I was very impressed. I mean, I think it's probably the only pizza I would eat here.
Appreciate that.
Beside Little Caesar, I think
Oh
so.
yeah, of course. Well, naturally. I mean, that's
I'm
Rebel
joking,
Pie, Little
obviously.
Caesars.
Of
course.
2 peas in a pod.
Had to throw a jab in there at the end.
Lift him up and break him down.
I was
Alright.
joking, obviously.
No, yeah, obviously.
Gotta give hard time.
Well, we ragged on Little Caesars for half of our podcast episodes, so they know where
You did. I was careful not
Yeah,
to
yeah,
mention
correct,
anybody
correct.
else.
I did.
I
Excuse
don't
me.
knock other people's pizza.
So they know.
You know, I just grinned.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, we all mentioned the pizza dip earlier. I almost forgotten about that. I love the pizza dip, and I always go for shrimp and grits. Always done a good job with those. So, I'm a grits fanatic. So,
Yeah.
when you get the good fixings on top of that, you can't go wrong. So,
Yeah.
I'll probably get that a good bit at a time. And I
Classic.
love any kind of dip, but pizza dip. I mean, how can you go
Right,
wrong?
of course.
We're keeping both those on the menu, by the way.
What's a
On
pizza
the new
dip?
menu.
It's the ground beef. I didn't know that they used the trimmings from that though,
Mhm.
seasoned up, and then it's cream cheese and
See if you
Ground,
remember the
ground
ingredients.
yeah,
sausage.
marinara sauce, sausage. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
And then
Pepperoni.
there's another cheese on the top, and then you throw it up under the broiler.
Mhm.
Is that all of it?
Yep.
Pepperoni?
Pepperoni.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there is pepperoni.
Yep,
Yep,
and taco
you're right.
seasoning is in it as
Yeah,
well.
taco seasoning and the
Yep.
beef. Yeah,
Yep.
and then chips.
It's called a
Tortilla
Mexican
chips.
pizza
It's
dip,
really
so
good
it's
with
actually
pita
not
chips
a
too,
marinara.
though.
It's like
Yeah.
salsa in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like they do the nachos thing kind of thing, but
Similar, like a layered dip.
okay.
Yeah.
So there is no guy to your right, and then if we wrapped it around, the guy to your right is your restaurant also. So
So all right, well, I'll hit both of them then. How about that?
that'll work.
Rebel pie. I like the My son loves the pie holes. He makes me get the cinnamon ones and the regular ones as soon as we sit down, so he can eat both of them the whole time. By the time we get to the pizza, he's stuffed on the icing that comes with the cinnamon ones. I feel like they used to have a habanero pizza that I loved a lot. Habanero bacon and chicken. I think had a habanero sauce on it that was really good. But I get the buffalo chicken pizza just about every time. And
What you're talking about, we can do all the time. That was the chicken wing supreme we do
that's right.
every September to bring in football season.
Okay.
But we always have the stuff, so just
Do
ask
you
for
really?
it. Yeah.
Well, dang, I'm gonna have to get that next time. Might be in there tomorrow. We'll see. And then my wife and I came in and had dinner here one night, and hands down the best charcuterie board I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
As far as the quality of the meats, cheeses, and everything was unbelievable. And I got the and I went different. I never order filet when I go out to restaurants because I always think that I can cook a filet just as good as anybody else. It's an easy steak to cook. I do it at the house all the time. My son actually made a comment. We went to a place at the beach, and we took him to a nicer place for the first time, just the wife and I, and he got filet, and he said, "Daddy, this filet is not as good as yours." And I was like, "That's what I'm talking about," which was awesome. But I actually had yours with the fingerling potatoes, and it was over top of the uh, was it a cab reduction or it's a
Oh, it's
it
the
was the
Chianti
purple.
sauce. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
the Chianti sauce with green peppercorn.
it was unbelievable. Green peppercorns were in it. Yes, it was unbelievable, and it was something that I would not order normally. I wouldn't order filet normally, but something with a sauce like that as well. I was like, I don't know, I'm going to do it, and it was incredible. We really enjoyed it, and we had 2 bottles of wine, so it made it even
Yeah,
better
that
too.
would
I'm
help.
sure.
Absolutely.
Help the review.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Well, see, I normally don't, but since y'all are here, I'll do each one too. So for you guys, and if you saw the episode with me and Latwan, then you know
Yeah.
Chicken Country Gentleman, the old school one, the OG Chicken Country Gentleman, but currently Chicken Leo and a throwback hamburger steak, medium, and then the new, it would have been the margarita, but the cheeseburger pizza that I ate driving down Palmetto Street the other day, that thing is awesome.
That
So
was a good hit.
yeah, definitely like that one. And then I'm gonna say the same thing as the charcuterie board is I could just eat that as a meal. But also you did a salmon, but really it could be probably about any fish special, and the jalapeno risotto would probably be my favorites. My wife had the filet. I haven't ordered it, but the last time we came in and sat over there, she had it, and I tried a piece of it, and it is excellent. Really good filet. So there you go. Those are my favorites.
Yeah.
I had the jerky, chicken fingers last time I was there.
Oh, the
That
jerk,
wine guy.
Jamaican jerk.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Oh, the jerk planks are the jerk planks are really good too. Good
Yeah,
point.
those are
that
good.
was.
Yeah,
I mean, nice. They
with the
very
honey
clean there,
mustard.
too.
Yeah, the
Oh
jerk
my
plains
God.
are good.
They
I had
are.
it the other day for the first time in a while. They're so good.
I
They
was
are.
like, and also, those guys that left us without food and make us drink. They won. I was like, we
Oh yeah,
have
when you did the wine
food,
tasting
man.
the other day.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
And I was drunk already. I say I need something quick,
Yep.
and I got
Jerk
that,
planks
and
will
it was
do it.
perfect. It was awesome.
Yeah, those
Nice.
are super good. I get them the honey mustard.
Oh yeah, those are really
Yeah,
good.
for it, just mention a simple things. I said chicken fingers, but they were like I think probably the best chicken fingers I had.
No, they're nice.
That's our number 2 seller out of that whole restaurant.
Really?
Shrimp and grits is number 1, and chicken fingers is next, and then pastas,
Wow.
Leo, and all that.
We actually had Landis from Carolina Fresh call us and say, "Hey man, I got a fun fact for you guys. You guys buy over 10,000 chicken tenders a week."
Wow.
Like holy cow,
Wow.
pumping out chicken tenders for
kidding.
real.
Hey, well, that's a good bonus. If y'all don't mind, if y'all don't want, I don't have to put this in there, but so that would be a good bonus. What is your top selling item at each one of y'all's places?
That's shrimp and grits.
Yeah,
I mean
shrimp
for
and
sure.
grits.
I could have guessed that.
By landslide, yeah.
Yeah.
I know his answer. Pizza.
Pepperoni pizza, man. Pepperoni probably running close second with or close first over meat quartet, but
Okay.
that's yeah,
What's on that
pepperoni-
one?
Pepperoni pizza.
Meat quartet.
What's on? It's the what
meat
kind of
quart-
sausage is that on there?
The meat quartet is bacon, hamburger, pepperoni, and sweet Italian.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That sounds really
That's
good.
my go-to every time.
I have to get that next time. That sounds good.
It's so good.
I've never had that one. I'm still classic on my pizzas.
Margarita.
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. I mean, usually I go over there. I probably ask to add capers
we sell a lot of margaritas,
and
so-
anchovies
Mm.
when he has them. But
but for our American audience, we
I
got
don't
some
have
we
one.
got some Italians that are like we got one lady, she doesn't want salt on it, she doesn't want olive oil, she wants tomatoes before I even put the herb in it. She wants it plain as can be.
Really?
marinara. She wants a marinara.
Well, she wants the basil on it, and she wants the margarita,
Yep.
but she wants it bland as can be.
We have a
She's
guy
from
that
Italy. She's got a real thick accent and everything. She just wants.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
she's.
we have a
'Cause
guy
we
who
normally
orders.
drizzle the olive oil on it, and I put just a tiny sprinkle of salt. I thought made it pop, but she didn't want that or the olive oil.
God. A guy who orders. We have one that orders water noodles. He just wants a little bit of water. Put the noodles in the pan and saute it for a minute, and then send it out. No salt, no pepper, nothing. We just say water noodles.
Yeah.
Oh, I had
Yep.
a guy comes here. I think he's got stomach problems.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wants like a plain pasta. That's
I wonder if it's that guy.
probably the same person.
Could be.
And we have one guy that's
We'll
a
cut
regular
that
that
part
literally builds a casserole. I mean, I don't understand how. I mean, he'll get like pesto sauce and then double dose of blue cheese, mushrooms, purple onions, Gouda on it, feta,
God.
anchovy. I mean, I'm like, how do you even know what you're eating? But I mean, it's
That reminds me, the
yeah, I mean, it's
pesto.
$30
Anchovies
pizza,
are
but
actually
it's like-
delicious. I had no idea how good the anchovies were until when Chef Bobby was still at Town Hall. He made me eat some anchovies one time. I was like, dude, these are amazing. Kind of blew my mind. They
Yeah,
were
you-
nice anchovies.
You get
though,
high
not- not-
quality fresh ones right
Oh,
when you
yeah.
open them. They are good.
Yeah, they were
Can I
really,
say
really good.
why? Why you do that? Like pasta and blue cheese?
Mm.
And green olives.
No.
You don't taste anything. You
mean,
just
it's-
taste the saltiness or anything of
Yes.
everything. That's all you taste.
Yeah.
He comes in and we're like, okay.
I'm like, golly. Ooh.
You want to close out with anything?
I think that's it. I think we covered everything.
And maybe appreciate, we really appreciate the community support that we get, continue to support local businesses. As you can see, we had a great time doing this. We're all friends with each other. None of us are in competition to run another restaurant off. We want every one of us to be as successful as possible. And it's something that, we're passionate about. So we would love for Florence to become a bigger food scene, to bring, more people to eat in Florence. I mean, being a halfway point from the beach in Columbia, I think we could pick up even more, even further down, 20 and 95 to come come enjoy a good meal here.
Yeah, and I think it is happening. It can happen, and it is happening. And a lot of this is the reason why these larger cities and these destination places, these guys aren't competing with one another. So I mean, to a degree, but this competitive mindset, it's the same thing you said. Like we want to see everybody succeed. It's a food scene, and if it's thriving, everybody individually is going to be making money
Of
and doing.
course, you gotta support one another.
Rising tide lifts all ships.
One another. That's the thing. Are you gonna run for office next year? Good. You got my support.
So I can speak on behalf of a lot of the community, I think, and say that we appreciate everything all you guys are doing and continuing to do. So y'all get out and go to these guys' restaurants. If you've never been, you definitely got to go out and try all of these. But I appreciate y'all taking the time to sit down and do this. Hopefully we can do it again in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate all you're doing for the food scene. in
Next
Florence,
time,
too.
Alan's place, so I can eat the pizza.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Alex, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I didn't
Alex,
know
for
all
all the
this was
food,
going to be
too.
involved. So we're going to start doing one of these a week if it's going to be
Yeah,
like that.
seriously.
No, I'm gonna bankrupt.
All right, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Nice.
All right, now I can eat some food.
Go ahead, eat, guys.